Again, going back to 21, I'm looking at all the way back you saw earlier. Now, this trade overall was over a 5-hour trade. This is a long time. Most people don't have the patience, but if you don't have patience, you can never get big wins like this. And so I was on multiple time frames looking at this thing, because that's how you maximize. Again, one, that's how you look and see how good a trade can be. You need to have higher time frame analysis, and then two, you can capitalize on making how much money you can make. So technically, I should have been out this trade, but like I told you, I got in so light, I had to make up for it. So you can see now I'm floating in profit $2,600. It's not even the fact if it's going back at this time. I know it's not. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down this trade I took on US 30, aka for all my futures trades like myself, MYM. On this, I actually already had these accounts on a Forex/CFD evaluation company. So I took it on here. When you know how to trade, the premise is all the same, right? You guys know I started in Forex and CFDs, and then I transitioned over the years to futures, and now it's just futures. Futures is clean, bread and butter, and that's what it's all about. Of course, if you're new to the channel, my name is James Strong. I make videos about trading the futures market, investing in the stock market, and personal finances. We trade to grow our capital. We invest to build long-term wealth, and none of that's possible without having good personal finances. Now, I'm going to break this down. I had this live. I had this recorded. So I'm going to break it down, show you guys, talk you through, and literally show what I was going through during that time. And then I'm going to break down how I took this trade as well, what I was looking for in the confirmations. I actually got in this trade light, but way lighter than I should have. So I'll teach you guys and show you as well what I did to adjust it, other parameters I was looking for, and ultimately how I still was able to capitalize on the trade and other opportunities. So I'm going to walk y'all through literally like everything I was thinking. So you can see I'm in this challenge, right? This little trade passed the challenge of one trade. I was initially down a little bit. That is what it is, right? So I got in. You can see, I'm gonna show y'all I got in. So set my TP. TP the whole time was initially supposed to be 5. Now, when I get on the live charts, I thought I'll show you this stuff. I'm going to show you why it ended up being longer, and I had to start performing technical analysis, basically see other opportunities to expand it, because I got in too light. I haven't been trading Forex for a long time, or CFD, so the lot sizes, I was off. I was miscalculated. I only got in maybe for like $400, 4 or 3 something. So like what you see, like, yeah, even though it's a over $3,000 win, I got in way too light. This is supposed to be like huge. So yeah, so I had adjusted that. So again, I'm gonna walk you guys through that in real time and show y'all what I was looking for as well. So I mean, you can see basically right here, I was expecting a retracement. It broke out around 8:30. This is when it started to sink. So around this time, it started to pull back. So what was around $12, $13, $14 at one point, it started coming back to 400. Right here is where most people are going to start to get FOMO, and they're going to start to close that trade. I could tell you right now, most people closed out and took profit. I was willing to, I was already break even at this point. So I'm like, yo, it's risk free. I've been trading for a long time. Like I say, I'm not a flashy guy. I'm a real guy. I'm a real trader. I'm a real consistently profit trader. So I stick to my analysis. I stick to my edge. I was willing to walk away with nothing. So I was willing to go from $1,400 to nothing. Same thing I said before. I've been in a trade $7,000 and watched it go all the way back to zero. That just is what it is. Like, when you know your edge and you know your strategy, you need to do what it is you need to do, no matter what. Follow your plan, stick to your system and work it. That's how you become mechanical. So right now I was just floating $460 all the way back from 1,400. Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I was already ready to be break even. If it broke even, cool. If not right. So I went down to the 1 minute chart to start looking to see, all right, where could this potentially go to field? Like, what's going on? Contrary to what people say, when you go smaller, it doesn't get noisier. You get more detail, but most people don't have the technical or analytical skills to be able to identify these things. So I kept looking at, we never grabbed liquidity. That's why I had this dotted line up here. This dotted line right here. I'm gonna pause the video. This dotted line with these all signs. I wanted to see if we ever grabbed a high point. And again, I'm gonna go in depth with all this later. We never did. I was on the 1 minute. So fast forward to, you can see, started back to sink. So this is why I say I stick to my analysis. I knew from testing, I knew like Again, the edge doesn't mean it couldn't lost. Sometimes mine go for 3.5, and then they'll come back. But most of the times it's running, right? I'm catching bigger moves. So this is one I was pretty confident in. So now you can see now we would start to leak. I was like, okay, cool, we're good. Now I wasn't focused on the pullbacks or the retracements. I was really looking to see where is my exit. And you can see my position sizes. I got in 4 times. Again, I got in lighter than I should have. So I was, supposed to be up more. So you can see now I'm beginning to mark up places on my chart. And I'm looking to see, look, breaking down to the minute what's going on with market structure. Okay, now we're filling imbalances. We're doing this. We're breaking structure. We have an internal breaker structure. Do we have a change of character? I'm getting detailed because now I'm no longer focused on, like I said, the pullback. I'm looking at certain things like how far could it pull back or how deep could it go? The market is literally just body movement, and it's just like fitness. Once you learn how to, I don't like to use the word manipulate, but once you learn how to structure the body, this is me pointing out like, hey, you just feel the imbalance. So I was expecting that pullback, right? It's me, I literally in real time. But it's like the body. Once you learn how the body works, what the body needs to, for your body specifically, to cut carbohydrate, cut fat, gain muscle, whatever. That's me typing my name. I'm like, yeah, I do this now. Like, how, okay, hey, I can do these things. I can gain some muscle. I can cut out water weight. I can cut out body fat. It's the same with trading. Once you kind of understand, like, hey, it's filling this gap. It's going to this imbalance. Hey, there's it needs to mitigate this. It may not quite fill it, right? It filled it 25%. Things that seem very complicated, but over the years, when you have proper teaching, like somebody who's really doing like myself, right? Again, I'm not a flashy guy. I'm a simple guy. I like simple things, but I like nice things. And I'm not trying to flex. When you have somebody who's humble like that, I can teach you and show you the right way to do these things. All right. I just want to jump straight now to the trade. And then I'm going to go walk you guys through it step by step on the charts. So we're going to finish up the recording. You can see I was on the 5 minute again, going back to 21. I'm looking at all the way back. You saw earlier. Now this trade overall was over a 5 hour trade. This is a long time. Most people don't have the patience, but if you don't have patience, you can never get big wins like this. And so I was on multiple time frames looking at this thing, because that's how you maximize. Again, one, that's how you look and see how good a trade can be. You need to have higher time frame analysis, and then 2, you can capitalize on making how much money you can make. So technically, I should have been out this trade, but like I told you, I got in so light, I had to make up for it. So you can see now I'm floating in profit $2,600. It's not even the fact if it's going back at this time. I know it's not. It's the fact of where am I getting out. Now, because I wanted to truthfully pass this challenge, and also the balance was lower because I got in not too early. I didn't get in precise enough on one of them, so I actually closed it literally just to get a better position. Again, that could seem backwards to some people, but when you know what you're doing, it makes sense, right? So I actually closed it. So some of this balance-wise negative is literally just because I closed positions early because I didn't get in. The move started early, and I'm in Central Standard Time, right? So it didn't start when I was able to be right at the chart at like 6 or 5 in the morning or whatnot. I came there in New York like I usually do. So, it is what it is. Like I said, you want to account for human error and stuff, but you can see right now we're floating around $3,000. Dude, my equity's cool. So I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna go ahead and, sell out. I was gonna hold it. I ain't gonna lie, just because I was like, I literally knew the move was gonna go lower. And again, I'm very cautious in the word new, but I'm like, yo, we're gonna go sweep this liquidity down here. But I was like, nah, I got what I need, man. Let me go ahead and close these out. I was just watching. I was like, man, should I keep holding this? That would have been more of an ego metric if I kept holding it. So I chose to close them out, get my bread. And I was like, should I have one just because, I look back at the chart. I'm like, nah, maybe I'll just let it run. I was like, man, close this thing out. And that was it. Challenge pass, one trade. And I was in drawdown. Now I'm going to walk you guys through the trade itself, what I was looking for, some confirmations, and just talk you through it, right? I kind of talk you through my emotions now. So first off, a lot of terminology or things, unless you're taught by me, you won't understand some of these things. Like right here, right? INV. You won't know what that is because this is not a term that you can look up. This is something that I have coined, right? I'm not saying there's not other terms. There's nothing new on the sun. You know what I'm saying? Everything's been done. But this is a term I've used, right? But basically, I went up to the 1 hour, did my analysis, and I'm always looking to trade during New York. Sometimes before, sometimes after, depends on the trade setup. There was a good sell-off. So you can see even right here, right? There was like impulse sales coming down during London. So I saw areas of opportunity within that. I saw imbalances. I saw supplies and supply areas. And I like the fact that it was rejecting off the 50 EMA as well a little bit. But all these came together, went down, saw imbalances on lower time frame as well, 15, 5. Again, certain areas of supply as well, right? We want to keep it very simple, but I saw certain supply areas as well that were stacking. So I knew if it held a certain area, there was a high probability. So I set, if you look right here, I set this liquidity line to see where we're going to grab liquidity. If we grab liquidity, I was going to start looking for other things that could change the character or whatnot to be going up. We never did. And all it did in turn was end up giving us a discount. So if I drag this out, it ended up coming back and giving about, I always look for at least a 50. It ended up coming back and giving a discount because the move took off. The move took off during London, which is early, 5:45. This was a 5-hour move, technically, 5:45 to 10:30 before it really tapped down here. It's a 5-hour move. So I got in around, let me go down to the 5. I didn't get in until around a discount opportunity around like 7:15 or whatnot. So it was dropping. The reason I told you earlier I had closed one of my positions because I got in around here, but I really wanted the discount area. I just got to the charts by the time I was able to get in and get in my positions and mark everything up and analyze it first. I never just jump in because of FOMO. Again, I'm a professional. I'm not doing that, right? Like I've learned over the years, like I'd rather miss a trade and get in. And because I've done it, I've gotten burned, I've lost money. I'd rather miss the trade than try to jump in and then you end up, it didn't meet all my criteria. That feeling sucks. That feeling sucks to be in the trade. You like, yeah, woo woo woo. And then you lose because it's actually not your trade confirmations. You got in thinking it was, but you were rushing. I've done that before. It sucks. I don't do that. So I got in a little late. When it did come back, sometimes it doesn't come back to discount. So that's why I went ahead and got in. I wanted a tighter price. So I ended up buying out of one of my positions, and I waited and bought in and sold out at a lower price. So again, getting a position to sell. Don't let the terms confuse you. But I basically waited for a better price to sell. Then I started riding it back. This is when we were watching the pullback. So pullback came down, and I started looking on the 1 minute. That's when I was marking up in the video, like for imbalance fields, looking at stuff. We played around for a little bit. Let me bring this to the front. That was already in the front. It's just dark. So we played around for a little bit, and then finally we started dropping, right? But I was watching all this structure. Like this little high, I was like, I don't know. But again, I'm on the higher time frame. So I was not focused on what the 5 minutes doing when I'm doing my analysis on the 1 hour. The 1 hour is stronger. Higher time frame takes precedence over these small time frames. So I came in. Even though I saw it, I was like, I don't really like that. But it also had basically closed below these bodies down here too. So I was like, it's a 50-50 right now. I need to see what the next few minutes are going to do. Once I saw we broke structure and we grabbed this liquidity right here. So I'll draw this for y'all. It had barely tapped it, right? And especially right here. But I'll just put that. Mitigate liquidity. And then grab the bottom. Once we grabbed that, I was like, we good money. I was only focused then on where am I getting out. So at this point, I was like, all right, how low can we go, right? I got my 15-minute entry. I also have my 1 hour confirmation entry. So the real one was set at my T line. Again, you won't know what this is if you're not taught by me. No, my original was 5. I do a fixed 5-hour for most of mine. But usually, because I also do a 1 hour entry as well, or the potential to, right? It's basically like a secondary entry if I want to take it on my personal whatnot. And I'm not even talking about my personal. This is just the challenge. So But I can aim and get a big one. Like I said, I don't chase ego metrics. I don't chase stats. You want to secure your bread and get out. You know what I mean? Like there's a time for that. There's a time where like you might be up for the month or the quarter. Yo, I'm just gonna let it run, you know. But usually, man, I get my bread and get out. Like I said, I usually would have been out of this trade on normal circumstances. I would have been out right here 8:45. I would never even got this pullback because I would have closed at 5-1. Now, because of the circumstances of me getting in so light and also that this account being in drawdown, I was like, I have to hold it. What I did was, like I said, zoom back out. I'm on a higher time frame. I'm like, all right, how low can this go? So I started looking at points. One, there was a point of, this is what I marked up over here. There was liquidity here, which I knew, again, I don't like using the word new, but high chance it was going to grab this. Clearly did. That was within my 5. Now, when it grabbed that, I didn't know. A lot of times it can grab enough. It can fill enough orders to where it has enough volume to go back up and shoot to the moon all the way up. I didn't know how much they needed, right? How much money they needed. So nobody does, right? So I was like, So that's why I was watching. When I zoomed on the one, I was watching so closely. What was it doing within this time? Because it just mitigated its liquidity. If it had enough money, they could be gone. So I didn't see any reversal signs. I was like, all right, we cool. Now let me go to the next point. Now my safe point was down here. So this is the next one. This is why I put a red line, because I'm like, here, I need to stop. I need to be out. No matter what, I need to be out by this point. Because after that, now I solely, like, I can't look left, right? That's the last point of liquidity, you know, aside from price being way left. I'm like, all right, that's the most recent price action. I literally need to be out this trade. So I'm going through, I'm looking at, like, all right, cool, whoop. After it sold off and it broke the structure, I was cool. I ended up closing around right here. I wasn't getting greedy. Like I said, trying to chase it. I thought about it. I didn't get greedy. And from there, I just watched it, closed out, and I started studying. So another thing that I encourage people to do as well is when you're in a good trade and you have your analysis, right? I have my 15, my 1 hour, 5, everything marked up. Look and see how other things play out in the market, because now you're fresh. You have fresh emotions. You have real emotions. Look to see how it plays out. So like I said, for me, I knew the lowest point was here. So I could have got a 9-1 risk reward. I ended up getting like I think it was like a 7. Something like that. That's how light I was. Should have been a 5, but I wasn't in heavy enough for my risk. So I got like a 7 or 1 or whatnot, but this could have been like a 9, maybe a 6.5. I don't know, whatever. $3,000 something dollars. But this was the point right here where you see, this was the point where I would have been out for good if I would have held it. Instead, I sold out bought out, whatever, about right here. Now, another point was I had a similar trade literally the day before that. The first entry he got filled already, but the second one didn't. So again, based off my analysis, if I really wanted to push it, I could have aimed my TP all the way down here, because it still went with my my strategy, my system, and my overall analysis. Because like these are positions where I can either intraday my moves or I can literally swing them. I usually just intraday them. I'm not really a swinger. I like to get my money and get out the same day. But you can see, even with this analysis, it literally barely tapped it, rejected how many times? 1, 2, 3, took off. That's how precise my analysis is a lot of times. So that's why I'm not overly risky. Like I wouldn't have held this right here, because that happens a lot to me. It'll barely hit it 1, 2, 3, or one wick, it's gone. So I don't get greedy. I get in and out. It's as simple as that, man. Everything you need from me is in my description. Whether you're trading futures, whether you're trading foreign exchange, it's all the same. But what's not the same is futures is a lot more regulated and stable. And that's why I take these trades. Like my personal stuff is all futures now. Again, I had these accounts, already. Same thing. Cool. I'm going to use them, right? I'll maximize whatever to maximize my money. I'll use a futures one, a Forex one, and I'll still trade my personal futures account. But learn one way, learn the right way. Learn from somebody who's really going to show you how to do it. Take it serious, and then it's, you can have a good life. So if you want to know more, always go to my description. All of my resources are down below. If you like making money, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Until next time, much love.